It's Mr. Brent Houchens with Smoker Joe Productions, and this is Boots on the Ground versus Clowns. I tell you, there's a lot of people, they call them, they're shot callers, and then there's people that pull the guns, is what they call it. But, you know, in the business world, you have owner-operators, and I think owner-operators are some of the people that are in the most touch in what the business needs, from workplace morale to improvements to decor and design, and to what the true needs are. And those are the real boots on the ground. Sometimes you have people, when you get to a corporate level or an industrial level, you got clowns versus boots on the ground. So when it comes to boots on the ground versus clown, you have the people, and it doesn't necessarily mean people that are in the trenches or people that are out walking the streets or people that are out patrolling, but you have these people who are actually in position to do the job, and they feel like when you look at the system of success, they may be at the lower end of the scale of employment, but they are at the highest value for the company for that particular position. So when you look at middle-level management, you got upper-level management that doesn't really appreciate that and doesn't really value that. However, those middle-level management, they know their job better than anybody. Even if a person has came from a middle-level management and was promoted to upper-level management, there's a time frame and a window period that new person has a critical window period to that, and that's where boots on the ground versus clowns when it comes to people who are calling the shots and people who are actually pulling the guns and pushing the pins. So there's a big difference between those two types of attitudes. And when it comes to me being out here and doing what I do and starting a business, it's all new and fresh to me, but it gives me a new appreciation as I watch different people go through their daily lives, and as I work at different places and different businesses, at why I'm still building a business through means of employment. And I just secured another job, so I'll be working 2 jobs again. And, you know, it's great when you can go in. Here's the difference. When you can get down and have a personal encounter with somebody, that's boots on the ground versus clowns. When you are systematically sent through emails and electronic resumes, there's an interpersonal connection there. That just, it has no value that can even compare to one inkling of what a walking in face-to-face, eye-to-eye, handshake, quick conversation and engagement can really secure that position and secure that connection and solidify a very humanistic side of a business world. And in doing so, you can really make a connection. I literally walked in, looked at the dude, shook his hand, said, "Remember me? I'm ready to start working for you." And he said, "Be here on Monday." Conversation over. I spent 2 minutes. 2 minutes maximum. And that was walking there and walking back. So that connection right there, this person understands me and I understand him. And when you try to match that comparison, that's a boots on the ground encounter compared to boots on the ground versus clowns. So a lot of times in politics, you have politicians that are so out of touch with what's going on in the world that they push numbers around and they look at stats and they look at charts, but they have no clue what's going on down here in the real world. And when I say down here in the real world, you know, they have people they're shrouded by a bubble of protection and information that they have to entrust on the right people. So it creates another liability. When you are a real person down here walking around making your own engagements and not allowing someone to, you know, you've heard the term, you want it done right, do it yourself. That's not always true, but make sure that you understand the positions and you never get out of touch. You never want to be outdated with a business, for one, and that's my goal with Smoker Joe Productions. And number 2, you never want to be out of touch. You never want to get so high up in the sky. You don't want to raise so high up along the chain that you're out of touch with what goes on at the reception area. You never want to get so far away into a business that you're concerned with more of market gains and returns in the bottom line, and you have no idea what goes on in the daily retail. You never want to get so far along in manufacturing that you're not in touch with the finished product. So no matter what it is or a service that you provide, that you do not understand the daily runs of a technician. So let's say you provide a service, and through this service, you know, you never make a run for the technician. You're successful, you make it to a corporate, you're on the market, you're big. And you start making all these changes to people's pensions and all these changes to service and all these different cuts, but you never make a run with a technician. After 10 years, or a service member, let's just put it that way, a service team member, you have no idea what that person struggles with, and you have no idea how you can see the view from that person's angle. So don't be afraid to climb back down the ladder to check the stability of your foundation. A lot of people love to climb the ladder, and when they get to the top, they just sit there and perch. But don't be scared to climb back down to check the stability on each step, because each step along that process was critical when you climbed up. Make it be equally as critical as you climb down. This is Mr. Brent Houchens of Smoker Joe Productions.